Welcome back to the show, everybody. Take a look at these numbers. We run the headlines here. We got the latest with the SEC versus Ripple summary judgment motions filed under seal. We're bringing it to you. And how about this? A $12 trillion gateway to Ripple? We're going to take a look at it. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. $1.029 trillion is where the market cap is this morning. Quite a ways off from the $3+ trillion as our all-time high for cryptocurrency. Good morning, CoinPeprika. Download the app. They're amazing. Bitcoin right now, 20,100 plus. We see Ethereum at 1,500 plus. XRP this morning, 33 cents right here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't done it, Uphold is one of the places that I really find to be the easiest to use, the safest to use. I have an enormous amount of my portfolio on there. I love the fact that Uphold has never stopped selling XRP, zero trading commissions, zero withdrawal fees, zero deposit fees. What are you waiting for? There's a link underneath the video. Check it out for yourself. Watcher Guru says, and I tell you what, I love seeing this kind of news right here. Listen, if you're one of the people, and I have people I love and care about dearly, they watch the price all the time, and they're always asking me, family and friends, when moon? That's what they keep asking. Listen, I dare not try to say when moon. I don't know. I've never known, and I've never tried to guess when moon. But what I can tell you is, I like seeing this kind of news. Citadel, Fidelity, Charles Schwab announced plans to launch a cryptocurrency exchange. Now what could they be doing that for? Stuff's not going away, ladies and gentlemen. And to add to that, I think it was last week or the tail of the week before, we covered this news, and it's important because of what we're about to move into. This was from the IMF, the bullet train report we covered here, where it basically said sending money abroad or receiving it will be easier in the future. New tokens and platforms may transform cross-border payments. Write the IMF, Tobias Adrian, and Tommaso Mancini Grafoli in the latest write-up, and we covered it. Obviously, it was last week, I believe it was, but nevertheless, I'm showing you that because we're going to be moving through some information here that you are absolutely going to want to know about. Digital Pound Foundation, the Central Bank of Norway, has released open source code for the country's central bank digital currency sandbox, available on GitHub. The sandbox is designed to offer an interface for interacting with the test network. This is the Norwegian central bank uses Ethereum to build the national digital currency. And we do look at that and find that's exactly what they're doing. And we see enabling functions like minting, burning, and transferring ERC20 tokens. Now, look, one thing I'll say about all of this is that I know that developers build on this network. I know that there's layer 2 solutions that avoid the gas fees, but somebody's got to pay the gas fees, and it's the developers themselves, right? And at the end of the day here, I believe a lot of people believe that Ethereum has more clarity, which it does because of what William Hinman's speech has done, that this is obviously seems like a safer place to build off of the network, creating an assembly line of projects after projects into the billions and billions of dollars. Now, to this point, I want to add, imagine what this space looks like when there's clarity for Ripple and the XRP ledger and token. Who's going to choose to continually build on an expensive network for them, regardless if they end up making some kind of layer 2 solution? I'm going aside from this point, but I just thought it's worth mentioning on this. When innovation can really sit side by side and let the people choose instead of having a free pass, right? That's all I got to say about that this morning. This is what you're going to want to know right here. Michael Branch, Hall of Famer, give him a follow. Swift disclosed on Tuesday a partnership with fintech company Symbiont. And you're about to find out why that's so important and meaningful. to provide more accurate data for financial firms through blockchain technology. Swift disclosed on Tuesday the partnership with fintech company Symbiont to provide more accurate data for financial firms, and that includes Vanguard, Citigroup, American Century Investments, and Northern Trust among the companies participating in the initiative. According to the announcement, the pilot project could help providers distribute data in near real time to global custody clients through Assembly, Symbiont's proprietary technology platform, and smart contracts will be used to create a network effect that leverages the 11,000 plus institutions connected to Swift globally. You start asking yourself, where does Ripple fit in? What's going on here? Right? You know, all of this business, everyone starts asking, right? In 2017, Symbiont partnered with Vanguard to improve price index data distribution through blockchain, consuming data from funds worth $1.3 trillion at the time. By bringing Symbiont's assembly and smart contracts together with Swift's extensive network, we're able to automatically harmonize the data from multiple sources for a corporate action event. And this was from the Chief Innovation Officer at Swift, adding that Assembly's smart contract would allow to compare information shared between participants, flag discrepancies, contradictions, or inconsistencies across custodians. So this, you see, has been going on for quite some time. What's interesting about all of this to me is this, right? Now, if we go to what's so important, well, first of all, Vanguard, $8 trillion under management, kind of a big deal. Right? Citibank, we're looking at 2.2 trillion, right? We go ahead and add this in, 218 billion from American Century Investments, all the people connected to the hip to this Symbiont, right? And how about another 1.5 trillion from Northern Trust in assets under management and 15.7 trillion in assets under custody. This is all important because Symbiont also creates Ripple Gateway for counterparty XCP back in 2015, ladies and gentlemen. Courtesy of Michael Branch. I told you to follow this guy. The blockchain-based fintech company startup bridging the gap between mainstream finance and crypto financial technology has announced its first product, a Ripple Gateway for counterparty, over which XCP, counterparty's native currency, or any other counterparty asset may be sent. How about this? Counterparty is free and open financial platform built on the Bitcoin blockchain, it says, which enables the creation of custom user tokens and smart contracts. With the Ripple Gateway implementation, counterparty users will now be able to transfer their funds in real time with minimal transaction fees. The gateway allows users to send counterparty assets through the Ripple network and to transfer those assets back into counterparty network. Further, both on Ripple and counterparty networks, assets may be stored in offline wallets to ensure maximum security. By being a member of the Ripple network, one may potentially become part of the user's trust networks. Such trust networks guarantee, first of all, that only one does business with whom he is explicitly chosen, and further may allow you to exchange a wide range of currencies, including fiat. Users of Symbiont's gateway will naturally benefit from the trust network Symbiont joins. Development of this gateway demonstrates Symbiont's development team's ability to work with any distributed ledger technology, explained the CEO at the time, 2015, Mark Smith. You know, when I see this, I start asking myself, okay, now that's back in 2015. What has taken place since 2015 in the last 7 years? And does it still hold true and have relevance today for what we have found out and the trillions upon trillions? I mean, we're talking 12 plus trillion in just the partners that were mentioned in the original article here, right? Pretty powerful stuff. I mean, I have to say, keep an eye out, ladies and gentlemen, because it is a time like this, I believe, that you see these things still being connected, just like Fidelity and Charles Schwab and everybody else announcing they're launching a crypto exchange. They're not doing that for nothing, right? So eyes peeled, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of eyes peeled, we turn now to the SEC versus Ripple. Jeremy Hogan and others chime in, and grateful for each and every one of them. We start right here where it says CoinDesk. Ultimately, it's about protecting the investing public, Gary Gensler says. And if the investing public is investing in crypto, we have to have some protection. Jeremy says it best here. He says, but it's not about protecting the public. If it was, the SEC would tell us clearly, don't buy XYZ token because it is a security, and you would then focus enforcement efforts on scams and frauds. That is clear. What is not clear is why the SEC is not protecting us. So well said, as always, from Jeremy right there. And we go now to this, which is from James K. File. And Jim, so grateful for you as well, my friend. The SEC has filed under seal its motion for summary judgment against Ripple defendants. It also has filed a declaration of Daphne A. Waxman with, by my count, he says, approximately 400 exhibits and or sub-exhibits. And you can see an example of that right here in this tweet and all the exhibits that are filed there. You know, I don't know what we do without all these gentlemen helping us, I tell you the truth. He says, it is unclear because it's under seal whether the memorandum of law in support of the motion was filed together with the motion and whether the Rule 56.1 statement was filed together with the declaration. That is not how it's done in Telegram, but every case is different. He says here, the SEC has since filed its memorandum in support of its motion for summary judgment declaration from Jorge Tenrero and Ladin F. Stewart statement, as well as hundreds of additional exhibits. Screenshots of the filings are below. Excuse me. And you can see those there. You know, we are getting so close. We are now 5 days away of seeing the redacted summary judgment public filings, and we will glean something out of that we had no idea about. Bill Belisarius adds to all of it and says, if Judge Torres finds for Ripple and upholds Judge Netburn, and the SEC actually hands them over, the 69 emailed speech documents can be added as exhibits between 107 to 175. So keep an eye out for that, because that decision could come down at any time as well. Just a reminder very quickly here before we recap and get out on that point and go to the next piece of news here. September 19th is when we get to take a look at what's going on, and it will be redacted, but it should give us more information than we've had to date. It goes, Jeremy Hogan goes on to say here that this is a huge week in crypto law. The Ripple summary judgment briefs will be filed today, although we won't see them until Monday, and a decision in the library case is expected this week. These two things will affect the entire space for years to come. Any predictions on the library case? Jeremy Hogan says, I think the judge is going to split the baby. Exactly how, I don't know. Just wild speculation, which is welcome. You're at home here, Jeremy. We got a spot for you at the table. We do plenty of that here. Yeah. And we responsibly let everybody know when we're doing it. The markets are on the verge of a collapse, and Ripple XRP is waiting for full clarity with the settlement, says Dark Defender. It won't be a coincidence if both happen at the same time. Perfect timing. Again, the chaos for the fiat will be the new era for crypto. You know, there is a part of this that I lean into as well. I never thought for a minute that XRP was designed to launch in a well-working economy. XRP and Ripple are designed to really introduce a complement to the monetary system to ease the pain of the liquidity issues and liquidity crisis that runs around the world, and certainly with the US dollar. Right here, Eggrag Crypto says 10 and 100 MA moving averages in the history of XRP. We had two bullish, two bearish crosses on the weekly between the 10 MA and 100 MA. We might have a potential bullish cross between June and July of 2023. Nothing in the post is financial advice from me or anyone else. Goes on to say in this simulation here, that what if I told you that we might still have another 10 months of accumulation and the moon date is actually the 1st of July, 2023? Well, I told him, you can bring it on. I've been here a long time. I'm not selling. And by the way, especially if we're waiting for a moment like this where we could see $270, $13 plus, and $95 into 2024 even. Yeah, you know what? I'm here for the duration, ladies and gentlemen. I really am. I'm not leaving. It's not financial advice for me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. That's going to do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of great specials and deals in the links below. Please make sure you check them out. I'm telling you, you can't get the specials and deals unless you click the links. All of these things are products and services that I use, or otherwise I wouldn't even put them under there for you to have an opportunity to use them either. So they're trusted, vetted links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.